and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host here on Schlick Sports, Noah Schlicksup, and today I'm bringing you guys another Jaguars video. And today we're going to be doing a post-free agency Jaguars mock draft simulation. Now, I did one of these on PFN before free agency, and you can check that video out. I'll link it in the description. But today, right after the Jaguars have filled all their needs, we're switching to PFF.com because I just feel like it's more realistic in terms of the draft and its prospects, and I just kind of like this site better. But we are going to be doing 7 rounds fairly fast, and before we get into it, I've got the not so big board with me today, and these are our top draft needs in my opinion. And here's the problem with one take videos. You go back in the footage and you see, oh, I only got 3/4 of the not so big board in the shot, and the only thing that's missing is the key points. So I'm just going to do graphic overlays there, so you still get what I'm talking about for this part. Anyways, sorry about that. Back to the video. Starting off with edge rusher, just because, you know, they haven't addressed that as much as they have with wide receiver, even if the talent wasn't, you know, the best at wide receiver that they believe they could have gotten. They still need to fill that. However, edge rusher, K'Lavon Chaisson just isn't it. They need to get someone paired up across from Josh Allen. And I think you can see where I'm going with that here with the number 1 overall pick. We got wide receiver, center with Brendan Linder retiring. They got to fill that need. Tyler Shatley could potentially be a fit, but we're going to try to adjust that in the first few rounds. Offensive guard, another one you'll see me try to address early on. Free safety, one need for the Jaguars, I believe that hasn't been talked about enough. Andre Cisco, strong safety, needs to get more playing time this year, but at that free safety position, we still don't really have a solid, you know, defensive back there. I believe there is some room in this draft. I mean, they got plenty of picks. That's my number 5 need for him. Number 6, tight end. Got Evan Ingram. Got to get someone behind him as they only have him on a 1-year deal. There's some talented tight ends in this draft. We'll see if they can fill that need. D-line, even with the signing of Foley Fadukazi. I probably botched that one. D-line is in need. I'd like to see us fill still. Just get some more depth there, even with Devon Hamilton. We got a good D-line. That's something I'll address later on in the draft. And the linebacker, just trying to get some depth behind Foye Oluokun. So we're in PFF here. And, of course, we're going as the Jaguars. Let's enter the draft. And I'm not going to be doing any trades in this draft. Just, you know, going with what the Jaguars already have and going off of that. So we're going to start the draft here. Option that I believe could be available for the Jaguars is, we've talked about it, potentially trading away the number 1 pick. If so, I'd like to see him stay in this top 10 and potentially get a guy like Drake London or even Garrett Wilson. But no trades here. We're picking Aiden Hutchinson, number 1 overall. And we all know why. There is some talk about K'Lavon Chaisson, but you just look at his profile and what he's done over this season. Aiden Hutchinson, he's the more complete player right now and more of a guaranteed NFL talent, in my opinion. You just look at his PFF grade right there, 94.5. I mean, he had a spectacular 2021 season, 14 sacks, 51 quarterback hurries. That is just unbelievable numbers out there, and he'd be a really, really good threat to pair up with Josh Allen. Going after the quarterback, Aiden Hutchinson, number 1 overall pick. And my last mock draft, I took Evan Neal. That was before they franchise tagged Cam Robinson, so already seeing some changes in this draft. So at number 33, this is where I want to address wide receiver. So we can officially cross out edge rusher here. Let me do that. We got edge rusher off the board. We filled that need. Now on to number 2, which I'm going to try to fill at 33. And potentially later on in this draft, well, probably definitely later on, is there's gaping hole in that wide receiver room and some talent in this draft. Sky Moore, is a guy who could potentially be taken there. There are just some questions with him. He's not your typical, like, not exactly what you, he's a little smaller, on the smaller side right there at 5'10", 195, so the size isn't great. There is some worries about his route running. As you can see, his worst graded PFF game was against Michigan this past year. He's really shifty out there, had a really good season, but I just feel like the more surefire pick, which is what the Jaguars need to be looking for right now, if we can scroll down a little bit, he could potentially be taken later on in the first round. He may not even be available at 33, but here I'm taking Jahan Dotson. He was absolutely amazing, as you can see, only an inch taller than Sky Moore, but as he can only drop 2 of his 93 catchable targets this year. He is exactly what the Jaguars need right now, Jahan Dotson. And you can see his worst graded PFF game, 61.5 against the Hawkeyes. I was at that game, and he was the only reason that Penn State offense was still competitive against that Hawkeyes, at least somehow. I mean, considerably competitive, and it's because, I mean, Trey Robertson coming in after Sean Clifford got hurt. Jahan Dotson made some really impressive plays even with him in there. 87.5 perfect, PFF grade. Had a fantastic season. Nearly 1,200 receiving yards this season. He's been fantastic his 2 other seasons at Penn State, but stepping into that wide receiver 1 position this year, he was absolutely fantastic for the Nittany Lions. And I think he'll be a potential wide receiver 1 option. He's definitely going to be a high-end wide receiver 2 potential here in Jacksonville. And that's why I'm picking him at number 33, Jahan Dotson. Welcome to Duval. So this next pick, I think, is where it starts getting more interesting for the Jaguars. Because round 3, Jalen Tolbert, another option, trying to get another wide receiver in there for Trevor Lawrence. There's Brian Asamoah, Brandon Smith, linebackers, and I just see a linebacker as, and something you want to fill in later on in the draft, is it's not our biggest need right now. Bring in the NFL's leading tackler from last season. And, I'd like to see Shaq Quarterman potentially get a shot to get a little bit of playing time out there, too. That's still something we can fill later on. Dylan Moses was really hyped up out of Alabama, had some tough breaks his senior season. So right here is where I'm actually going to pick Kirby Joseph. And the safety out of Illinois, 6'1", 200, picked off 5 passes at the free safety position this year. I believe he could be really good in the NFL. It mentions there a 6'8" wingspan. He's a ball hawk, and he's a really, really good defender. You can see right there, got a 90 overall perfect game grade. I mean, he can do it all, and, filling that need, getting him across from Andre Sisco really would be a great upgrade here in that defensive back position. The Jaguars, obviously, I believe their cornerback room is set. They got Darius Williams coming in free agency. He's a really talented corner, local kid. They also got Shaq Griffin. They got Tyson Campbell, their second pick from last year, Trey Herndon. They could potentially go later on in the draft with the corner. But right here, I want to see them pick Kirby Joseph. I think he's got potential to be a really good free safety. Then right here, a guy they've been linked to already, Dylan Parham, a guard out of Memphis. Really versatile out there on the field. Got good size, 6'3", 285. You can take a little look at his statistics. Didn't allow a sack in 2021, only 1 in 2020. I really like him coming out of Memphis and addressing that offensive guard position. Could potentially even play center. We'll see. But Dylan Parham, number 70 overall. And now the number 1 overall selection, round 4. And this is right here where we're seeing guys like Weidermeyer and Isaiah Likely going. They're not going to be there. I think right here, they rarely are. We can look up. Yeah, there's Likely. Was Weidermeyer selected? I don't see him. He might be available. But right here is where I like someone coming up later on in the draft. And we can cross off free safety, offensive guard. We got those needs crossed off the board, at least for now. We'll see if we use one of the 16 sixth-round picks we have to maybe get some more depth there. But right here, I'd like to address center with Linder retiring. Donovan West, solid option out of Arizona State, 6'4", 300. Center isn't really his, main position. He just started playing it this year. Was all right at center. If you take a look here, got a 73 overall perfect game grade. And I keep saying perfect game. Sorry, I'm broadcasting high school baseball right now. I'm referring to that a lot. But another option that could potentially be off the board, and yeah, I see Luke Fortner was taken by LA, so that's an option I'd like out of Kentucky. Another real versatile guy who can play all over that inner part of the offensive line. I like him. Good potential option here, but he's not available in this mock draft, so we're picking Donovan West. Hopefully he'll end up being good protection in there for Trevor and getting that O-line rounded out. So we've picked an edge rusher, wide receiver, center, offensive guard, and a free safety. Now on to pick 157, and this is where I'd like to address that tight end need for the Jaguars. It's much more depth there with Dan Arnold, who was all right coming in from Carolina. And then we also got Evan Ingram, who we signed over the offseason, who's got potential to be really good. However, has had trouble staying on the field in the past. He's been in there for the most part these past couple years. And a guy I'd like to see selected here is Jake Ferguson. Now, the reason why is, his average pick here on this mock draft is 173. Haven't seen him get to 180 very often doing these. So I want to pick him right here, 157. Wouldn't be a bad 157 pick. He's a really good tight end, 6'5", 244, so brings a lot of size there. He's good blocking. He's a Big Ten tight end. Of course he is. Look at that perfect Pro Football Focus grade right there. 88.3. He's got good stats from these past few years. Been a really reliable target over at Wisconsin and could be really good for Trevor Lawrence as well in the NFL. I really like him coming out of Wisconsin. Good option for the Jaguars in the draft. And I'm picking him here. Now on to 180. And this is where I'm either going D-line or linebacker. So we got Otio Agbonia. Austin Lane at ESPN 690 would not like this pick. He is having enough trouble with the current names. Got 2 sacks this year. Doesn't blow you away. Only 8 QB hurries. His best game was against Arizona. Worst against Utah. Don't love to see that. Here we go. I'm not picking this guy just for the name. Nafai Sewell. I like him coming out of Utah. Really stood out in a few of their last games, especially against Oregon. I remember watching that game on TV and really being impressed with what I saw there. And if I can, I'm going to draft him here. Feeling a good linebacker depth there. And then just a few picks later, Jaguars at 188. Let's see, we got Marquand McCall, the top defensive lineman available. Man, he's got size. How do he weigh 379 pounds? Some of these guys are just crazy athletic. Didn't get a sack in 2021, and PFF grade kind of scares me away a bit. So I'm going to scout out other options here. Going down. Don't really see many. Jaden Peavy. Let's take a look at him here. Okay, I like that a little bit better. Worst game at Ole Miss. The stats look better. The PFF grade is better. Those are normally pretty telling to me. You look at it, 315, 6'6". Jags need some size in that defensive tackle position. However, we got picks 197, 198 coming up. I think he'll still be available there. So I'm going to go up and try to address different need. Hassan Haskins, really good out of Michigan. I like him coming out of the draft. Could potentially be a good option, 1,000-yard rusher this season. Got a great PFF grade. I think I'm going to take him here because we do need to address getting some depth at the running back position. So I'm going to take him there. And then right here we got back-to-back picks, 197, 198. Bo Melton. I want to get a wide receiver here. So Bo Melton out of Rutgers. He's been all right. I mean, especially at Rutgers, it's hard to do much, but I really like Tyquan Thornton. 6'3", 182, brings some size at the wide receiver position. Had a good season with Baylor, 940 receiving yards, 700 yards receiving back in 2019, 15 yards per catch that year. This year, I like him. I really do. Coming out of Baylor, I'm going to pick him here, getting some more depth in that wide receiver room. I'm officially going to cross that off our top draft needs. So we've addressed all of that. Now it's time we go after a D lineman. And let's see if he's still available. Yep. Jaden Peavy, 6'6", 315. Already went over him. We're going to take him at 198. So, moving forward here, this is kind of into all the previous picks. I mean, we filled all of our needs, except one outlier. Is Matt Wright the guy at kicker? I don't know. Let's see. He was kind of iffy last year. Do we go ahead and pick him? Let's see. DJ Dale, another D lineman. I'm going to be honest there. The Alabama logo. Look at me there. There's a local guy, Chamari Connor, out of Virginia Tech. Do we pick a corner? Bring another local guy home? I don't know. Our next pick's at 235. And my favorite kicker coming out of this draft is Cameron Dicker out of Texas. Had a really good season with them. Was really consistent kicking out there. Made some long field goals. They don't have any stats on this site for kickers. What's his average pick? 233. That's one pick after us. Hey, let's draft Cameron Dicker right here. So, there we go. We got a kicker. And with our last pick, who's it going to be? I don't know. I feel like the only position we haven't picked in this one is offensive tackle and cornerback. There you go. We got an offensive tackle there. Not going to be picking a quarterback. We don't need that. How about Eric Swenson? Oh, didn't allow a sack this year in 10 games at Oklahoma. Got a good PFF grade. Only allowed 3 hurries. That is struggled a little bit in that department, but that's way down this past season. Do we go Swenson? Any better options out here? How about Deculus? 6'7", 325. Don't like those numbers very much. And his worst game was against Kansas State. Oof. Sorry, Austin. We'll let someone else pick you. Tyrese Robinson, 6'3", 324, redshirt senior. Yeah, no, I like his teammate Swenson better. Yeah, I think right here we're going to be picking, where are you at? Where do you go? Eric Swenson. Offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. And that will do it. Our post-free agency version of the Jaguars mock draft simulation. Let's see, what grade did we get? I hope it was good. All right, so we got A+ with the number 1 overall pick. Thank you, PFF, for that. Ooh, how did this... I got an issue with them and Jahan Dotson. They don't like him very much. B+ for that pick. Got a good A for Donovan West. A for Sewell. I don't like that. Jake Ferguson. He's going to be good. I disagree with them there. They even got him graded good. I mean, how you have him at 203, giving that pick a D? I don't like that. That's going to bring our grade down to an A-. I don't know. I mean, that's not terrible. I've gotten better on this, but A- it is. So that's going to do it. Well, actually, no. Let's take a look at the first round. So we got Kyle Hamilton. They're not picking an edge. They're picking Kyle Hamilton in Detroit. When do they have the first quarterback going, though? That's my question. They just don't have the Panthers taken when they haven't taken Evan Neal. Kayvon Thibodeau falling all the way to the Seahawks. They're not taking someone. Let's see. Over here, Malik Willis going to the Saints. 18. Don't see that happening. Jordan Davis going 20th overall to the Steelers. Jamison Williams going to the Hall of Fame with the Patriots and his former QB, Mac Jones. Let's see. Don't see another quarterback going in the first round. Kind of surprising. We'll see if they update that. But so yeah, that will do it for my mock draft today. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe here to Schlick Sports. Comment what you thought about this draft down below, what you'd do differently. Hey, I want to hear your thoughts, discuss it with you. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Schlick Sports. But for now, I'm signing off. See you guys next time here on Schlick Sports.